Hello everyone, this is my YouTube video on how I achieved all medals in one run. This means that I did not have any legendary items at the beginning and I did not have any ruins cleaned at the beginning. Of course, such a great challenge requires quite some preparation. I inspected several maps to find a fitting one. The two most important islands are the oil spill and the turtle island because from them you get a plus 40 on your water balance. Second important are the island with the castaway, which gives you 25 tons of fish in exchange for 5 wood, as well as the monkey island to give you 25 tons of bananas, although I do not have this in my run here. Also very nice are the Perforated settlement as well as the waste island, which gives you additional construction material to progress faster. The temple ruins are actually not that important because they give you only herbarium and plants you either don't need or already have. Also keep in mind that there's no guarantee to have any special kind of island in your map. So always be prepared to get bad maps with few event islands, or you may even get very good ones with up to 9 or 10 event islands. What you also should keep in mind is how far these islands are away. So especially for the Castaway Island, the Monkey Island, it's necessary to have them close to your harbor to get the benefits early. A small side remark, I'm playing on game update 13 here. This means the ship has some strange speed debuff and the fisherman's quest line cannot be done. But now let's watch the run. During the most of the time I played on half speed, but for the playback I choose double speed, so which comes back to normal game speed. I will skip some sections and do a lot of explanations. You'll find a link to the whole run in the video description. A must-have are the 5 crates in the city. They will always give you the same rewards, namely 2 items and fish, plantains, steel beams, tools, timber and bricks. You may have noticed that I didn't send my ship on exploration because I'm waiting first for the 5 timbers for the quest at the Castaway Island. The most pressing issue I face in the beginning is the air quality. So to prevent this, I have to get items as early as possible, therefore I have to rush to Obreros before I can even think of starting to construct the dam. As a first step, of course, I need to produce a lot of timber. And so I have to set up my settlement and get some lumberjacks ready. Moreover, timber production chain costs double the amount of workforce compared to a normal game, so we cannot afford as many of them right at the beginning. Since I've got some spare time now, I'm collecting the 10 unique plants. You'll find them on the sea, as well as on the cliffs, as well as on the main mountain, as well as on buildable tiles. So basically, look everywhere for those small bushes. The overall reward is always the same, 18 herbarium, as well as 6 plant items. And one of them, the flowering urban tree, will become very important later. After 2 minutes 30 of in-game time, I've collected all the wood for the quest and I can start all the sawmills. I put bananas in the construction overview at the top of the screen to see when they are running out. Originally, I had planned to construct my first plantain plantation at the other side of the river, but since I do not have enough timber at the moment to construct a bridge and a warehouse, I have to build them near the harbor warehouse. After I've constructed my 6 sawmills, as well as many houses as I could, I construct my first bridge over the river. On the other side, I have more free space for farms. As you can see, I try to avoid erasing trees wherever it's possible. You have to keep in mind that constructing a path erases the trees on both neighboring tiles. Therefore, I, for example, try to build paths next to ruins because there only trees at one side are erased. At 7 minutes 30, I start removing my first ruin, because this ruin gives me 10 tons of bricks which I later on need to construct my tool production. Here I build 2 different farms next to each other. This boosts the soil value. If I would place 2 identical farms next to each other, this would decrease the soil value, therefore I never do this. If you keep these 2 principles in mind, you'll no longer have to care about soil value, because your farms will boost it as much that you're always at the maximum. I build the workcloth production chain right after it gets unlocked. It's important to split the farms and the workcloth production itself, because later one will be boosted by a separate item to increase air quality. In the meantime, my ship has collected the fish and the Pyphorian settlement remains, which gives me more timber, and I do not have to care about fish production at the moment. Moreover, I build lumberjacks in lush forests, because there I later want to build farms and I clear the trees beforehand and get the timber. I built my first fisher hut at 10 minutes 40, just to avoid to run out of fish while I'm upgrading to Obreros later. My ship has arrived at the oil spill and I can clean it to get the buff for the water. Whenever I have timber, I expand my settlement. The pump and the church have a smaller range than the marketplace, therefore I construct far more and place them some way around the marketplace, so that nearly all my houses have 100% of coverage. At 11 minutes 10, I unlock my tool production. I immediately built my first iron mine, thanks to the bricks I got from the crates in the town. It is important to build all heavy industries together, so within the range of one trade union, because they will later on be boosted by the same items. In 1 minute, the reward from the ruins will give me enough bricks to construct the tool factory, so I do not have to wait for my brick factories to produce their first bricks. From my experience, 2 brick factories and 2 clay pits are sufficient to win this scenario. I recommend building silos, because they double the production but do not double the water pollution. At 12 minutes 30, I built the tool factory, and now I have all my needs fulfilled to upgrade to my first Obrero. Because I do not have enough workcloths, I stop the consumption until I have my first tool, so that I can prepare to upgrade my residences. At 15 minutes, my tool production is running. I piled up some workcloths, so I can unban the consumption now. Don't forget to build new houses and regularly check your statistics to see whether you have sufficient bananas and corn. Moreover, remove lumberjacks that do no longer have any trees and build new ones, so that you always have 5 to 6 lumberjacks huts and 4 to 5 sawmills. Once all needs are unlocked, it takes 3 to 4 minutes until you can upgrade your first residence. The reason is that all goods need to be at 100% and all residents need to move in. I upgrade precisely 40 houses to Obreros, because then I have exactly the workforce I need for all my consumption production and building material production. To achieve the 40 houses, I even allow negative Honalero workforce. But to compensate that, I build more houses. Once I've upgraded all the houses, I ban fish and workcloths for Obreros. The reason is I cannot afford the water pollution that comes from the animal farms, and I cannot afford the air pollution that comes from the tool production I would additionally need to construct the dam and supply my residents. I also ban fish and tools for the Obreros, as well as drip coffee pots and atoll, because I need the later ones for crafting the items first. The first Obrero production chains I built are drip coffee and atoll, because I need them to craft my items. The second priority are the mines. For them I also need more bricks and more steel beams. Meanwhile, I use my ship to get all the remaining rewards from the islands. At 26 minutes, I built the steel beam production. At 26 minutes, I built my first trade union to boost my brick production and steel beam production as well as tool production. You have to keep in mind that increasing the productivity also increases the pollution output. So that way I only save construction material and workforce, but I do not yet save air pollution. To achieve that, I, as soon as possible, try to get my first item. Here I build a path straight through the forest because I cannot afford the two bridges to cover the same way by building a path next to the mountain. But I have to do this at that moment because I need to clean this place from trees and I need more lumberjacks. At 28 minutes, I start fighting air pollution. To do this, I use the flowering urban tree on all my non-polluting production. That's the reason why I built atoll, felt production, work clothes production all in one spot to be able to boost all of them. If you've collected all the unique plants around your island, it's guaranteed that you have this item. Starting after 30 minutes of in-game time, you get a negative event every 15 minutes. The worst event you can get is malnutrition, because then all production buildings receive a minus 50% productivity malus. With that malus, it's no longer possible to reach gold. So there are two ways to prevent this malus. The first one is to set the save interval to 5 minutes. If you then receive this event, go back to the previous save. The chance is high that you get another event this time. The second way is from my own experience only. I noticed that if one of the island's eco balance is below 750, it's more likely that you get the event associated to this condition. For example, my air quality is below 750 and I get smog. When you have superfluous Honolero workforce, remove some ruins. Focus on the air pollution ruins first. The thing is, you do not even need to clean the ruins in the valley to fill the dam. I wouldn't even recommend removing the generator because until you get the effect, you'll no longer need it. So first focus on the ruins that give air pollution. Then you can already start building the dam. Meanwhile, you build more houses until you can also remove the water pollution ruins. Then I would no longer build any houses, but only remove the fertility ruins if you have spare workforce after removing the other ruins. At 32 minutes I have all materials for the toxin filter. The next item I aim for are the Pythorian machine instructions. While waiting for the construction material to build the mines, I build tortilla production and fedora production to get enough workforce. My third priority is then the construction material chains. First, electric cables, and second, concrete factory.
I still have a few stories how it used to be better.
The turtle you rescued has made the most remarkable recovery. It's been swimming in the Chilton and eating the algae in the water too.
At this point I basically have all construction material for the electric cable factory, but I notice that I do not have enough money. So if you really rush, money can indeed become a small issue. At 40 minutes I buy the Forster seats because my air quality is running low. The trick is that you can have up to 10 Forsters if you have the legendary item and the epic item. I built the Forsters next to lumberjacks huts that I want to keep, or at free spaces where I do not intend to build something. Since I'm running out of space at my starting settlement, I build another one here. At 44 minutes I start cleaning the last smoking ruin. Retrospectively, it would have been more efficient to build the water purifiers instead of investing the workforce to dismantle the ruins. The only reason to continue dismantling the ruins is to get construction material, especially electric cables and bricks. So have a look into the wiki which ruins are worthwhile. The pyramid can give you 4 rewards. 2 of them are bugged. The other ones are a photograph which boosts your production and the flowering urban tree. Since I already have the latter one, I go for the photography. You would receive the other one by providing tools and planting them immediately. At 50 minutes, I've got some major problems. So first I have got a disease in my town and I cannot afford a hospital. Fortunately, it's on my small settlement, so I just ignore it and let it go. Second, there are only 9 minutes left until I have to start my dam, and I do not have sufficient Obrero workforce at the moment. Third, my air quality is running extremely low, so I have to stop my steel beams production. And fourth, my water quality is also greatly decreasing, so in the future I will get problems there. It would have been better for me if I hadn't invested the workforce into the leaking ruins but built the dam immediately. Then I had needed to craft the water purifier earlier and build those buildings. Before I start the dam, I save 30 tons of bricks so that I can build my concrete factory. Because once the dam is started, it will collect as many building materials as it needs. The only way to build then something is to transfer each ton of bricks into your ship, pile those up until you have sufficient to build your building, and then transfer it back to your warehouse and immediately build this building. You may run into a similar problem if you provide your residents with tools, because then at some point you have 0 tools, your supply goes below 100% and you lose workforce. At 53 minutes and 30 seconds, I start the first phase of the dam, so there's no much buffer time left. Moreover, I do not have enough workforce at the moment. My workaround is to supply them with fish. Of course, this won't be a permanent solution and I have to build more houses. I do not go for aqua farms because their production rate is so low that they are not worthwhile. At minute 53, all my construction material production is ready. I use the item combination Perforian Calciner, Refined Industrial Toxin Filter, and Perforian Machine Instructions. With this item combination, it would be even sufficient to start my concrete production 50 minutes before I intend to finish the dam. But then I have to ensure that my steel beams production can run for at least 1 hour without any interruption. Since all my construction material production is running now, I apply the photo item I got from the temple to get a plus 20% boost on all my factories for 10 minutes. The air quality prevents me to run all my construction material production at the same time. There are 3 methods to improve the air quality. The first one is removing the ruins, which will still take some time until I finish this. The other thing is to build more productions that improve air quality by this urban flowering tree item. There's only one thing to keep in mind. The improvement is only available if the production is running, and if it's running lower than 100%, you do not get the full +3. So you need to maintain a running production factory. And the best way to do this, because it requires the least amount of workforce, is felt production. The only trade-off here is that you require wool production, which pollutes your water. The third method is to build the 5 foresters within the range of one trade union, and then equip the botanist in the trade union, which additionally gives +3 of air quality on each of the foresters. You should also keep in mind that the foresters are more effective if they have fewer trees around them, because then the forestation rate increases much faster compared to building the foresters into a dense forest. Since my air quality is at the critical point now, I have to stop almost all my construction material production. Finally, I can remove the Smoking Valley ruin to improve my air quality. I used the spare workforce to clear some more ruins to get construction material, but I do no longer build more houses because I need to save the timber for upgrade and I cannot afford more deforestation. In the next 15 minutes I only construct some missing production. At 1 hour 6 minutes my reinforced concrete production is running again, and I also start my electric cable production. I'm not forced to start my steel beams production yet because I have sufficient supply. At 1 hour 10 I craft the items to get the water purifiers and build them, which I should have done earlier. Moreover, I noticed that I'm running low in workforce. The reason is that my workclothes production is too low. So I have to stop some factories at the moment and supply fish again. For the next phase of the dam, I need 60 more upgraded houses. The problem is I do not have enough timber to upgrade them at the moment, so I quickly have to get the timber before I complete this phase. So 5 minutes before the first phase ends, I unlock the needs for the Honoleros. This gives me more workforce, which I will still need to end the first phase, while I also upgrade houses, which reduce my residents. So I have to precisely find this time frame so that I always have sufficient workforce and I can immediately start the second phase. I upgrade as many houses that I have sufficient Obrero workforce for the last phase of the dam, which requires 1,500 of workforce. Since some more will move in, I will have some buffer. I stop my tool and brick production now because I no longer need them. This also greatly increases my air quality. Later I'll do the same with all the other construction material. Here I built my Forsters layout to greatly boost my air quality. The last two phases are no big deal, it's merely fast forwarding. The only issue occurs is the disease outbreak, which I fight by building a hospital. Finally, I've made it, roughly 5 minutes before the timer ends, and I also have an island quality of 100%.